Jurassic World, Theories of Sorna Part 2. By Aidan Richardson. The dawn broke over Isla Sorna, painting the sky in hues of pink and orange as the sun cast its first rays over the dense jungle. The team had gathered around the injured Allosaurus and her baby, their faces etched with a mixture of concern and determination. Alex Marsh stood at the forefront, his eyes scanning the horizon for any signs of danger. He felt the weight of responsibility bearing down on him, knowing that their mission was fraught with peril. Isabella Summers, Alex's daughter, knelt beside the Allosaurus, her fingers deftly working to adjust the makeshift bandages that Rebecca Lynn had applied the night before. Isabella's brow furrowed in concentration as she whispered soothing words to the creature, her voice barely audible over the rustling leaves. Jackson Hardwell, with his ever-present half-smile, stood nearby with Shellshock, the velociraptor, by his side. The bond between man and dinosaur was palpable, a testament to the trust they had built over countless adventures. Shellshock's keen eyes darted around, ever vigilant for threats lurking in the shadows. The T-Rex, their unlikely ally, watched from a distance, its massive form blending with the jungle's shadows. Its presence was both reassuring and intimidating, a reminder of the raw power that lay within these prehistoric creatures. Rebecca Lynn, her medical expertise crucial to the Allosaurus's survival, checked the creature's vitals with practiced efficiency. Her calm demeanor belied the urgency of their situation, her mind already racing through potential treatments and strategies. Connor, Jasmine, Lindsay, Professor Michael Brown, Rachel, and Jacob formed a protective perimeter around the group, their eyes scanning the jungle for any signs of the government's agents. Each of them brought unique skills to the table, united by their shared goal of preserving the island's inhabitants. The Allosaurus let out a low, mournful cry, its pain evident despite their best efforts. Alex placed a reassuring hand on Isabella's shoulder, his voice steady. "We'll get through this, Izzy. We've faced worse before." Isabella nodded, her resolve unwavering. "We have to keep moving, Dad. The government won't stop until they've captured every last dinosaur on this island." Jackson chimed in, his tone laced with defiance. "Let them come. We've got Shellshock and the T-Rex on our side. They won't know what hit them." Rebecca glanced up from her work, her eyes meeting Alex's. "We need to find a more secure location for the Allosaurus and her baby. Somewhere they can heal without constant fear of discovery." Alex nodded, his mind already mapping out their next move. "We'll head to the northern ridge. It's remote enough to keep them safe, and the terrain will give us an advantage." As the sun climbed higher in the sky, the group began to mobilize, their resolve firm. They knew the path ahead was fraught with danger, but their bonds with each other, and the island's creatures, would see them through. As the sun continued its ascent, casting dappled shadows across the forest floor, the baby Allosaurus tentatively approached Connor. Its large, curious eyes locked onto him, and Connor couldn't help but smile at the young dinosaur's innocence. He extended a hand slowly, allowing the creature to nuzzle against his palm, their bond forming in the quiet moments of trust and understanding. Nearby, Rebecca Lynn remained vigilant, ensuring the mother Allosaurus was comfortable and safe from any potential threats. Her hands moved with practiced ease, checking the creature's wounds and murmuring soft reassurances. Suddenly, Isabella's communicator buzzed to life, drawing her attention away from the scene. She glanced at the screen, her eyes widening as she read the encrypted message from their anonymous contact. The words were a stark reminder of the dangers lurking around them. "Guys," Isabella called out, her voice tinged with urgency. "I've got a new message. It's about the incident with the Dilophosaurus last night. The contact says the government was definitely involved." The team paused, the weight of the revelation settling over them. Alex exchanged a look with Jackson, both of them aware of the implications. Isabella continued, her fingers flying over the screen as she relayed more information. "There's more. The contact says that Shellshock's headset is protecting him from a signal the government is using to hypnotize the dinosaurs. Most of the dinosaurs aren't affected yet, but some are starting to show signs." Jackson's eyes narrowed as he looked at Shellshock, the velociraptor's headset now taking on a new significance. "So that's why Shellshock hasn't been acting strange. We need to make sure the other dinosaurs are protected too." Rebecca nodded, her mind already racing with possibilities. "We could try to replicate the headset's technology, but it won't be easy. We'll need to find a way to shield the others." Alex's expression hardened with resolve. "First, we need to get to the northern ridge. Once we're there, we can figure out how to protect the rest of the dinosaurs." The team gathered their supplies, their determination renewed. The jungle around them seemed to pulse with life, a reminder of the delicate balance they were fighting to preserve. With the Allosaurus family in tow, they set off towards the northern ridge, their path fraught with both natural and human-made challenges. Isabella's mind raced with possibilities as she considered the task before her. The jungle around them seemed to hum with anticipation, the air thick with the scent of damp earth and blooming flora. She knew that time was of the essence. They needed to act quickly to protect the dinosaurs from the government's insidious signal. "Okay, listen up," Isabella announced, her voice steady despite the urgency of the situation. "I think I can replicate the technology in Shellshock's headset, but I'll need to break down some of my devices to do it." Alex nodded, trusting his daughter's instincts. "Do whatever you need to, Izzy. We'll keep watch." Isabella set to work, her fingers deftly dismantling her own equipment. The devices she had brought with her were a collection of cutting-edge tech, each piece a testament to her ingenuity and resourcefulness. It pained her slightly to break them apart, but she knew the sacrifice was necessary. As bits of circuitry and wiring lay scattered around her, Isabella's determination only grew. She carefully selected components that could be repurposed, her mind a flurry of calculations and design. The others watched her with a mix of awe and hope, knowing that their success hinged on her ability to adapt and innovate. Jackson stood nearby, his gaze alternating between Isabella and the surrounding jungle. "How's it looking, Izzy? Think it'll work?" Isabella glanced up, a spark of confidence in her eyes. "I think so. If I can just get these pieces to sync up like Shellshock's headset, we should be able to protect the Allosaurus family and the T-Rex." Rebecca moved closer, offering assistance when needed. "Let me know if you need an extra set of hands. We're all in this together." With Rebecca's help, Isabella assembled the makeshift headsets, each one crafted with precision and care. The devices were crude compared to Shellshock's original, but they held the promise of protection against the government's signal. The team gathered around as Isabella fitted the first headset onto the mother Allosaurus. The creature remained calm, its trust in the humans evident as it allowed them to work. Next, Isabella carefully placed the headset on the baby Allosaurus, its small size requiring delicate adjustments. Finally, they approached the T-Rex, the massive creature watching them with an intelligence that belied its fearsome reputation. Isabella's hands were steady as she secured the headset, her heart pounding with the hope that her creation would hold. As the headsets powered on, a sense of relief washed over the group. The dinosaurs seemed unaffected by any external signals, their behavior unchanged and natural. Isabella let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding, the weight of the moment settling over her. "We did it," she whispered, a smile breaking across her face. "They're safe." Alex placed a hand on her shoulder, pride evident in his eyes. "You did it, Izzy. Now let's get moving before the government catches up." With renewed determination, the team continued their journey to the northern ridge, their mission far from over but bolstered by their small victory. As the team pressed forward through the dense underbrush, Isabella's communicator buzzed again, the familiar sound quickening her pulse. She pulled it from her pocket, her heart racing as she read the new message from their anonymous contact. The words sent a chill down her spine. "Guys, you've got to see this," Isabella called out, gathering the team's attention. They halted, eyes fixed on her as she relayed the contents of the message. "The government has created a new hybrid dinosaur," she explained, her voice steady but laced with urgency. "They've combined the DNA of dozens of species, and it's designed to be a killing machine, capable of taking down humans and other dinosaurs alike." Jackson's expression darkened, his brow furrowing in concern. "What are they thinking? This is insane." Rebecca stepped closer, her analytical mind already processing the implications. "If they've truly created a hybrid like that, it could tip the balance of power on this island. We need to find out more about it and how to stop it." Alex clenched his fists, his jaw set with determination. "We can't let this monster run loose. We need to find the lab where they're holding it and destroy it before it can be unleashed." Isabella continued, her fingers flying over the screen. "The contact says the hybrid is already on the loose. It's been sighted near the southern part of the island, and it's hunting." Connor shook his head in disbelief. "We need to warn the others. This could put everyone at risk, not just us." "Agreed," Alex replied. "But first, we need to secure the Allosaurus family and the T-Rex. They can't be left vulnerable to this new threat." The team shared a collective resolve, their mission now more critical than ever. They resumed their trek toward the northern ridge, but a sense of urgency hung in the air, each step echoing the potential danger that loomed ahead. As they navigated through the thick foliage, the sounds of the jungle seemed to shift, the usual cacophony of life replaced by an unsettling silence. The team exchanged wary glances, the weight of the situation pressing down on them. Isabella's mind raced with possibilities. "We need to set up a perimeter around the Allosaurus family and the T-Rex. If this hybrid comes looking for prey, we have to be ready." Jackson nodded, his expression serious. "We can use the natural barriers of the ridge to our advantage. If we can anticipate its movements, we might stand a chance." With their plan in place, the team pushed forward, their hearts pounding with a mixture of fear and determination. The jungle around them felt alive, every rustle and snap of a twig heightening their senses as they prepared for the looming confrontation. As the tension in the air thickened, Jackson turned to the group with a determined look. We need to split up into 3 teams. It'll allow us to cover more ground and gather intel on this hybrid before it finds us. Alex nodded, appreciating Jackson's strategic thinking. Agreed. We can't allow it to catch us off guard. Here's the plan. I'll take Michael, Jasmine, and Connor with me to keep the T-Rex protected. We'll set up near the ridge where we can monitor its movements. Isabella chimed in, her voice steady. Rachel, Lindsay, and I will stay with the Allosaurus family. We need to ensure they're safe and ready to move if necessary. Perfect, Jackson replied, his eyes glinting with excitement and focus. That leaves me, Jacob, and Rebecca to keep Shellshock protected. We'll scout the area and see if we can find any signs of the hybrid. The teams quickly organized, each member gathering their supplies and ensuring they were prepared for whatever lay ahead. The jungle seemed to hold its breath as the teams separated, each one aware of the potential dangers that lurked in the shadows. Alex's team made their way toward the T-Rex, the ground crunching beneath their feet as they moved with purpose. They found a vantage point near the ridge, where they could keep an eye on the massive creature while also scanning the surrounding area for any signs of the hybrid. Meanwhile, Isabella, Rachel, and Lindsay set up a protective perimeter around the Allosaurus family. They used natural barriers and foliage to create a safe zone, their eyes constantly darting around for any movement that might signal danger. Jackson, Jacob, and Rebecca took Shellshock further into the jungle, the velociraptor's instincts guiding them as they searched for clues about the hybrid's whereabouts. Jackson kept a close eye on Shellshock, aware of the bond they shared and trusting the creature's instincts. As the teams moved into position, the sounds of the jungle began to shift again, the usual chorus of life replaced by an eerie silence. Each member felt the weight of their mission, the unspoken understanding that they were all in this together, united by their drive to protect the creatures of Isla Sorna. Suddenly, the distant sound of a roar echoed through the trees, a chilling reminder of the hybrid's presence. The teams exchanged glances, adrenaline surging through their veins as they prepared for the inevitable confrontation. As Alex and his team crouched low behind the dense foliage of the ridge, the tension in the air was palpable. The distant roar of the hybrid still echoed in their ears, but now they were acutely aware of movement in the trees ahead. Leaves rustled and branches snapped, sending a ripple of unease through the group. Everyone, stop! Michael hissed, his eyes narrowing as he focused on the disturbance. He pointed toward a shadowy figure weaving through the trees. Do you see that? Alex's heart raced as he followed Michael's gaze. Just then, a fin sliced through the underbrush, glistening in the dappled sunlight. The sight sent a jolt of recognition through Michael. Wait a minute, that fin. I know what that is. What is it? Jasmine asked, her voice barely above a whisper, eyes wide with anticipation. It's a Spinosaurus, Michael replied, a mix of excitement and caution in his tone. I encountered one during my solo expedition a few years back. It helped us face Ingen on our last trip to Isla Sorna. Alex's brow furrowed as he considered the implications. If it's here, it could mean trouble or it could mean an ally. We need to approach this carefully. As they watched, the Spinosaurus emerged from the trees, its massive form towering over the underbrush. The creature paused, its keen eyes scanning the surroundings, and for a moment, the tension in the air shifted to one of cautious curiosity. Maybe it's come to help us again, Connor suggested, his voice hopeful. But we should be careful. We don't know how it'll react to us now. Michael nodded in agreement, his gaze fixed on the Spinosaurus as it moved closer, its powerful muscles rippling beneath its scaly skin. The creature seemed to recognize Michael, its eyes softening as it drew nearer. Let's see if we can get its attention without startling it, Alex suggested, lowering his voice. Michael, you should step forward. It might remember you. Taking a deep breath, Michael slowly approached the Spinosaurus, holding his hands up to show he meant no harm. The creature tilted its head, observing him with an intensity that sent a thrill down his spine. Easy, big guy, Michael murmured, his heart pounding. It's me, Michael. Remember. The Spinosaurus paused, its nostrils flaring as it took in Michael's scent. After a tense moment, it let out a low rumble, a sound that seemed to resonate with recognition. Looks like it remembers you, Jasmine whispered, her eyes wide with awe. As the Spinosaurus moved closer, Alex felt a surge of hope. Perhaps this creature could be an ally in their fight against the hybrid. But they needed to remain vigilant, the threat of the hybrid still loomed large. Michael took a tentative step closer to the Spinosaurus, his heart racing as he focused on the creature's massive form. The tension in the air was thick, but he felt a strange sense of calm wash over him as he extended his hand slowly, palm up, toward the dinosaur. The Spinosaurus paused, its large eyes narrowing as it studied Michael. With a deep, rumbling breath, it leaned forward, sniffing the air cautiously. Michael held his breath, hoping that the creature would remember him from their previous encounters. After a moment that felt like an eternity, the Spinosaurus lowered its head, bringing its massive snout closer to Michael's hand. It sniffed again, its nostrils flaring as it took in Michael's scent. A flicker of recognition sparked in the creature's eyes, and Michael felt a surge of relief. "That's it, big guy," Michael whispered, his voice steady. "It's me, Michael. Remember our time together." With a gentle nudge, the Spinosaurus allowed Michael to reach out and carefully caress its snout. The scales were rough under his fingertips, but the warmth radiating from the creature was comforting. Michael felt a bond forming, one built on trust and mutual respect. The Spinosaurus let out a low, vibrating sound, almost like a purr, as it leaned into Michael's touch. The connection felt profound, a reminder of the shared experiences they had endured together against the threats of Isla Sorna. "Looks like you've got a friend," Alex said, a smile creeping onto his face. The others watched in awe, their tension easing as they witnessed this moment of connection. Michael took a step back, maintaining eye contact with the Spinosaurus. "We need your help. There's a new threat on the island, a hybrid dinosaur that's dangerous to everyone, including you." The Spinosaurus tilted its head, seemingly understanding the urgency in Michael's voice. It straightened, its powerful body exuding strength and readiness as it prepared to assist in the fight against the hybrid. "Let's move," Alex commanded, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. "If the Spinosaurus is willing to help, we can use its strength to our advantage." As they began to strategize, the Spinosaurus followed closely behind, its presence a formidable addition to their team. The jungle around them felt alive with possibilities, and though danger still loomed, they were no longer alone in their fight. As the team began to strategize their next move, a sudden commotion erupted in the trees nearby, the sound of branches snapping and leaves rustling sending a wave of alarm through the group. Alex's heart raced as he exchanged worried glances with Michael and the others. "Did you hear that?" Jasmine whispered, her eyes darting toward the source of the noise. The air grew thick with tension, and the jungle seemed to hold its breath. Before anyone could respond, the Spinosaurus shifted its weight, its massive head turning toward the sound. It let out a low growl, a primal warning that resonated through the air. The creature was on high alert, its senses sharpened by the imminent threat. "Stay close," Alex instructed, his voice low but firm. "We need to be ready for anything." Unbeknownst to them, the hybrid dinosaur was lurking just above, climbing stealthily up one of the towering trees, its eyes fixed on the team below. Its form was a grotesque blend of ferocity and agility, muscles coiling beneath its scaly skin as it prepared to pounce. "Do you think it's the hybrid?" Connor asked, his voice barely above a whisper. He felt a chill run down his spine as the rustling grew louder. Michael nodded, his expression serious. "It has to be. We need to get out of here." Before he could finish his sentence, the hybrid suddenly leapt from its perch, crashing through the branches and landing with a thunderous thud just a few feet away from them. The ground shook beneath its weight, and the air was filled with the smell of damp earth and danger. The Spinosaurus roared in response, stepping protectively in front of Michael, its powerful presence a shield against the imminent threat. The hybrid snarled, revealing rows of sharp teeth, its eyes glinting with predatory intent. "Get ready," Alex shouted, adrenaline surging through him. "We need to defend ourselves." The team quickly formed a defensive line, their hearts racing as they prepared for the confrontation with the hybrid. The jungle around them erupted into chaos, the sounds of battle echoing through the trees. As the hybrid snarled and prepared to charge, Michael felt a surge of urgency. He knew they needed to act quickly and decisively. With the Spinosaurus standing protectively in front of him, he turned to the massive creature, looking for a way to coordinate their efforts. "Listen to me," Michael said, his voice calm yet firm. "We need to work together. I know you can take this thing down, but we have to time our moves perfectly. Can you follow my lead?" The Spinosaurus turned its head slightly, its intelligent eyes locking onto Michael's. It seemed to understand, and with a deep rumble, it lowered its body, readying itself for action. "Good," Michael continued, feeling a rush of hope. "When I say go, charge at it. Draw its attention away from the rest of the team. We'll flank it from the sides. Are you ready?" The Spinosaurus let out a low growl, a sound that resonated with determination. Michael felt a bond of trust solidifying between them, and he knew that together, they could face the threat of the hybrid. "All right, everyone, on my mark," Michael called out, his voice steady as he glanced at Alex and the others, who were bracing themselves for the fight. 3, 2, 1, go. With a powerful leap, the Spinosaurus charged forward, its massive frame crashing through the underbrush toward the hybrid. The ground shook beneath its weight, and the hybrid, momentarily caught off guard, turned to face the incoming threat. "Now," Michael shouted, signaling the rest of the team to move. They quickly fanned out, using the trees for cover as they prepared to flank the hybrid. The hybrid roared in defiance, its eyes narrowing as it focused on the Spinosaurus. The two creatures collided with a thunderous impact, the sound echoing through the jungle. The Spinosaurus's strength was formidable, but the hybrid was agile, dodging and weaving as it fought back. "Keep it distracted," Alex yelled, urging the team forward. "We need to find its weak spot." As the battle unfolded, Michael felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. He watched the Spinosaurus grapple with the hybrid, each creature showcasing its raw power. The team had to stay sharp, they were in the midst of a fight for survival. The battle raged on, the sounds of the jungle filled with the roars and growls of the two titanic creatures. But just as the Spinosaurus seemed to gain the upper hand, something unexpected happened. The hybrid suddenly halted its aggressive movements, its eyes narrowing as it hissed menacingly at the Spinosaurus. In a shocking turn of events, the hybrid turned tail and began to crawl away with alarming speed, disappearing into the dense underbrush. The team watched in stunned silence, unsure of what had just transpired. "What the hell?" Alex exclaimed, his brow furrowing in confusion. "Why is it retreating?" Michael lowered his voice, still focused on the path the hybrid had taken. "It must have sensed something. Maybe it realized it was outmatched, or perhaps it's a strategic retreat to regroup." The Spinosaurus let out a triumphant roar, clearly proud of its display of strength, but Michael could see the concern in its eyes as it watched the hybrid vanish. "We can't let it get away. It's still a threat, and we need to track it down before it can regroup." Jasmine stepped forward, her expression serious. "We should follow it. There's no telling how far it could go or what it might do next." Alex nodded, his mind racing with possibilities. "All right, let's regroup and plan our next move. We need to be cautious, it's still out there, and we don't know what it's capable of." As the team gathered, they exchanged glances filled with determination. The fight was far from over, and they would need to rely on each other, and their newfound ally, to confront the hybrid once again. As the tension in the air began to dissipate, Jackson and his group emerged from the dense trees, shell-shocked at his side. The velociraptor moved with an air of confidence, its keen eyes scanning the surroundings for any lingering threats. Jackson, seemingly unfazed by the sight of the Spinosaurus, approached the group with a grin plastered across his face. "Looks like we missed quite the party," he said, his voice playful despite the gravity of the situation. "What did we miss? Did the Spinosaurus make a new friend?" Michael chuckled, relieved to see Jackson and the others. "You could say that. The hybrid just made a hasty retreat, but we're not out of the woods yet." Rebecca stepped forward, her brow furrowed with concern. "We need to figure out where it went. It could regroup and come back stronger." Jackson nodded, his expression shifting to one of seriousness. "Right. We need to track it down before it can pose a bigger threat. Shellshock can help us scout the area, his instincts are sharper than any of ours." Alex glanced around at the assembled team, feeling a renewed sense of unity. "Let's split up our efforts. Jackson, you take Shellshock and scout ahead. The rest of us will follow the trail left by the hybrid." The Spinosaurus stood nearby, watching the unfolding plan with a sense of awareness, its massive form a reminder of the power they now had on their side. "Let's move quickly," Alex urged, his voice steady. "We don't know how much time we have before the hybrid regroups." With their plan in place, the team set off, each member determined to track down the hybrid and protect the island's inhabitants from its deadly threat. Isabella sat with Rachel and Lindsay, keeping a watchful eye on the Allosaurus family. The jungle around them was alive with the sounds of nature, but Isabella's mind was preoccupied with thoughts of the hybrid and the danger it posed. Her communicator buzzed, pulling her back to the present. She quickly glanced at the screen, her heart skipping a beat as she read the message from their anonymous contact. "Hey, listen up," Isabella called out, her voice cutting through the ambient noise. Rachel and Lindsay turned their attention to her, sensing the urgency in her tone. "I just got another message from their contact. They want us to gather Jackson and Alex's teams and meet them at a secret location on the island. They have crucial information about the government's operations here." Rachel raised an eyebrow, curiosity piqued. "Do they say where this secret location is?" Isabella nodded, her fingers flying over the screen as she relayed the details. "Yes, they've given coordinates. It's not too far from here, but we'll need to be cautious. We don't know what we're walking into." Lindsay frowned, her mind racing with possibilities. "Do you think it's safe? What if it's a trap?" Isabella considered the question, her mind weighing the risks. "It's a possibility, but we don't have much choice. If they have information that can help us stop the government, we need to take the chance." With a sense of urgency, Isabella began to contact Alex and Jackson, relaying the message and urging them to regroup. As they prepared to move, the air around them felt charged with anticipation, the promise of answers just within reach. The Allosaurus family watched them with curious eyes, seemingly sensing the shift in the atmosphere. Isabella felt a pang of responsibility, knowing that their actions could determine the fate of the island and its inhabitants. "Let's get moving," Isabella urged, her voice steady. "We need to meet this contact and find out what they know." Isabella's communicator buzzed with an immediate response from Jackson, confirming that his team was on their way to regroup with hers. The message brought a wave of relief, knowing that they wouldn't be facing the unknown alone. "Jackson's team is on their way," Isabella informed Rachel and Lindsay, her voice filled with determination. "Once they get here, we'll head to the secret location together." Rachel nodded, her expression resolute. "Good. We need all the help we can get. Whatever this contact has to say, it could be the key to stopping the government's plans." Lindsay adjusted her backpack, ensuring they had everything they needed for the trek. "Let's make sure we're ready. We don't know what we'll find when we get there." The Allosaurus family watched them curiously, their presence a reminder of the stakes involved. Isabella felt a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that their actions could protect these creatures and the island itself. As they waited for Jackson's team to arrive, Isabella reviewed the coordinates one more time, committing them to memory. The path ahead was uncertain, but the promise of crucial information spurred them forward. The jungle around them seemed to hold its breath, the usual sounds of nature momentarily hushed as if anticipating the journey ahead. Isabella's mind raced with possibilities, the weight of their mission pressing down on her shoulders. Finally, the familiar sound of footsteps approached, and Jackson, along with Shellshock and the rest of his team, emerged from the trees. Their presence brought a sense of unity, a reminder that they were stronger together. "Ready to move?" Jackson asked, his eyes scanning the group. "Absolutely," Isabella replied, her resolve unwavering. "Let's go find out what this contact has to tell us." With their teams united, they set off toward the secret location, each step bringing them closer to the answers they desperately needed. As the group moved deeper into the jungle, the atmosphere grew tense with anticipation. The sounds of the jungle surrounded them, but an undercurrent of uncertainty lingered in the air. Alex turned to Isabella, his expression serious. "Isabella," he began, his voice low but firm, "can we really trust this contact? I mean, they've insisted on remaining anonymous. That raises some red flags." Isabella paused, considering her father's words. She understood his concern. Trust was a fragile thing, especially in a situation as precarious as theirs. "I get where you're coming from, Dad," she replied, her tone thoughtful. "But they've provided us with valuable information before. They knew about the government's operations and the hybrid. If they wanted to mislead us, they could have done so already." Alex nodded, but the worry in his eyes didn't fade. "I just want to make sure we're not walking into a trap. We need to be cautious." Rachel chimed in, her voice supportive. "We'll be on high alert. If anything feels off, we can backtrack. We need to keep our guard up, but we also need to gather information. It's a risk we have to take." Isabella felt a surge of determination. "We're in this together. We'll keep an eye out for anything suspicious. If we get there and it doesn't feel right, we can leave." With their minds made up, they pressed on, the promise of answers driving them forward. But the weight of uncertainty lingered, a reminder that in their fight against the government, trust was a luxury they could scarcely afford. The group approached the designated meeting point, their senses heightened as they navigated through the dense underbrush. The air was thick with tension, and every rustle of leaves or snap of a twig sent a jolt of adrenaline through their bodies. As they neared the coordinates, Isabella scanned the area, her heart pounding in her chest. "It should be right around here," she murmured, glancing at the communicator for confirmation. But as they arrived, it became clear that the anonymous contact was not there yet. "Where are they?" Jackson asked, his brow furrowed with concern. "This isn't like them to be late." Alex remained vigilant, his eyes darting around the clearing. "We need to stay alert. They might have been delayed, or they could be testing our response time." Rachel nodded, her expression serious. "Or it could be a trap. We should find a good vantage point to observe the area until they arrive." Isabella felt a mix of anxiety and determination. "Let's spread out a bit but stay within sight of each other. We can keep watch while we wait." The team quickly moved into position, each member taking up a spot that allowed them to monitor the surroundings. The jungle felt alive around them, the sounds of distant creatures echoing through the trees. Minutes ticked by, and the group remained tense, their eyes scanning for any signs of danger. Just as the silence began to feel oppressive, Isabella spotted movement in the underbrush. "Everyone, stay sharp," she whispered, her heart racing as she focused on the disturbance. Isabella quickly pulled out her communicator, her fingers trembling slightly as she activated it. She needed to reach their anonymous contact to find out what was happening. After a moment, the familiar voice crackled through the device, albeit with a hint of urgency. "I'm underground," the contact said, his tone low and hurried. You need to find the secret door to the underground base. I can't come to you, it's too risky. Isabella's heart raced. Where is this secret door? We're at the meeting point, but we don't see anything. There should be a large rock formation to your left, the contact instructed. Look for a series of markings on the ground. The entrance is hidden but will be revealed if you press the right sequence. Got it, Isabella replied, her mind racing with the implications. We'll find it. As she relayed the information to the team, a mix of excitement and anxiety coursed through them. The idea of an underground base filled with crucial information was tantalizing, but the risks were evident. Let's move quickly, Alex urged, his leadership shining through. We need to find that door before anyone else does. The team regrouped, their focus renewed. They made their way toward the rock formation, scanning the ground for the markings the contact had mentioned. Each step felt heavy with anticipation, the weight of their mission pressing down on them. Over here, Rachel called out, pointing to a series of faint symbols etched into the earth. I think this is what he meant. The team gathered around, studying the markings closely. With a shared determination, they began to press the symbols in the sequence they believed would reveal the entrance. Suddenly, a low rumble echoed through the ground, and a section of the rock formation shifted, revealing a hidden doorway leading into the darkness below. Wow, that's impressive, Jackson said, his eyes wide with awe. Let's hope this leads us to the answers we need. With a mixture of trepidation and excitement, the team prepared to descend into the underground base, ready to uncover the secrets that lay beneath the surface. Connor took a deep breath, his heart pounding with a mix of excitement and responsibility. He gently picked up the baby Allosaurus, cradling the small creature in his arms. The baby nuzzled against him, trusting and innocent, completely unaware of the dangers that lay ahead. All right, little buddy, let's see what's down there, Connor murmured softly, his voice reassuring as he approached the ladder leading into the underground base. With careful steps, Connor descended the ladder first, ensuring he maintained a firm grip on the baby Allosaurus. The creature squirmed slightly, but Connor held it securely against his chest, whispering soothing words to keep it calm. The darkness enveloped them as they reached the bottom, and Connor looked around, his eyes adjusting to the dim light. The underground space was expansive, with walls lined with strange machinery and flickering lights. The air was cool and carried a faint hum, hinting at the technology hidden within. Connor, is it safe down there? Isabella called from above, her voice filled with concern. Yeah, it seems clear, Connor replied, his voice echoing slightly in the cavernous space. You can come down. One by one, the rest of the team began to descend, their expressions a mix of curiosity and caution. As they gathered around Connor, the baby Allosaurus remained nestled securely in his arms, its big eyes wide as it took in the new surroundings. Let's keep moving, Alex said, his tone authoritative as he scanned the area. We need to find out what's going on down here and where our contact is. As they ventured further into the underground base, the team felt a sense of purpose driving them forward. The answers they sought were within reach, and they were determined to uncover the truth. The team moved cautiously through the underground base, their eyes scanning the dimly lit corridors for any signs of their mysterious contact. The air was filled with the hum of machinery, and the walls were lined with an array of technological equipment, hinting at the advanced operations taking place below the island surface. As they ventured deeper into the base, a voice suddenly echoed through the room, startling the group. Welcome, it said, the tone both calm and authoritative. Jackson stepped forward, his curiosity piqued. We're here. Can you show us who you really are now? We're not at risk of being caught by the government agents down here. There was a moment of silence before the contact stepped into view, his figure obscured by a hood, face mask, and dark sunglasses. With a deliberate motion, he removed the hood, followed by the mask and sunglasses, revealing his identity. The team gasped in unison as they recognized the rugged features and confident gaze of Owen Grady, the renowned velociraptor trainer from Jurassic World on Isla Nublar. Owen Grady, Isabella exclaimed, disbelief mingling with awe. You're the one who's been helping us. Owen nodded, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. I've been keeping an eye on things here. Couldn't let the government run unchecked on Sorna without stepping in. Alex stepped forward, his expression a mixture of respect and curiosity. We've heard a lot about you, Owen. Your work with the raptors is legendary. Owen shrugged modestly. Just doing what I can to keep these creatures safe. And it looks like you all are doing the same. The revelation of Owen's identity brought a sense of relief and excitement to the team. With his experience and knowledge, they felt a renewed sense of hope in their mission to protect Isla Sorna and its inhabitants. Owen gestured for the team to follow him to a large table in the center of the room, where a technological map was spread out, illuminated by a soft blue glow. The map was intricately detailed, showing various locations on Isla Sorna and highlighting areas of interest. I've been living here since the bison incident in Italy, Owen explained, his voice steady and serious. I've been keeping an eye on the government's activities, gathering as much information as I could. He tapped a few buttons on a nearby console, and the map shifted to display footage he had captured during his time on the island. The team watched intently as the screen showed scenes of government agents moving through the jungle, setting up equipment and conducting experiments. The footage then cut to a clandestine meeting between the government's commander and the leader of InGen. Their conversation was clear, discussing the hybrid blueprints that had been stolen from Henry Wu by Jackson's brother, Landon. Jackson's expression darkened as memories flooded back. He remembered the day vividly, the chaos and the fear. He had opened the door to the cage holding a velociraptor, knowing it was the only way to protect his friends, Alex, Rebecca, Isabella, and even Henry Wu, from Landon, who had the blueprints in hand. The raptor had done what Jackson had hoped, taking down Landon before he could enact his plans. It was a decision that haunted Jackson, but one he knew was necessary to protect those he cared about. These blueprints, Owen continued, pulling Jackson from his thoughts, they're the key to the government's plan. They're trying to create more hybrids, more dangerous than anything we've seen before. Alex nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. We need to stop them. We can't let them unleash these creatures on the world. Owen looked at each member of the team, his determination mirrored in their eyes. Together, we can put an end to this. But we'll need to act quickly and decisively. Owen gathered the team around the table, his demeanor serious as he outlined the plan to infiltrate the government's main facility on the island. The flickering lights from the technological map cast shadows on their faces, highlighting the determination in their eyes. Here's what we're going to do, Owen began, his voice steady. We need to get inside the facility and destroy the hybrid blueprints before they can use them to create any more hybrids. Jackson, I know you have some ideas on how we can make this work. Jackson nodded, stepping forward. We can create a diversion. Michael and Lindsay can draw the guards' attention away from the main entrance, giving us a window to sneak in. While they're occupied, Owen, Alex, and I will infiltrate the facility. Isabella chimed in, her mind racing with possibilities. I can hack into their security system to disable the cameras. That way, we can move without being detected. Owen smiled, appreciating the teamwork. Perfect. And while we're inside, Alex can record the commander's plans for the dinosaurs. If we can get evidence of their intentions, we can expose them. Once we have the footage, Isabella added, I can upload it to a news website. If the public sees what the government is doing, it could lead to a massive outcry, and we might finally be able to shut them down for good. The team exchanged glances, the gravity of their mission settling in. The plan was ambitious, but with their combined skills, it felt attainable. Let's finalize our roles, Alex said, his leadership shining through. Michael and Lindsay, you will create the distraction. Make it loud and chaotic to draw them away. Owen, Jackson, and I will head inside. Isabella, you will be our eyes and ears from the outside. Once we're in position, I'll give you the signal to start the distraction, Michael confirmed, his expression focused. Let's do this, Owen said, a fierce determination in his voice. For the dinosaurs and for Isla Sorna. With their roles defined and the plan set in motion, the team felt a surge of adrenaline. They were ready to take action, to fight for what they believed in. The atmosphere buzzed with anticipation as the team prepared for their infiltration of the government facility. They gathered supplies in the underground base, each member focused on their tasks. Isabella set up her laptop, ensuring she had the necessary tools to hack into the security system, while Jackson and Owen checked their equipment, making sure they were well prepared for the mission ahead. Alex moved through the group, offering words of encouragement and reminders of their shared goal. We're doing this for the dinosaurs and for Isla Sorna. Every step we take is a step toward freedom for these creatures. As they finalized their supplies, Michael and Lindsay arrived, shell-shock at their side. The velociraptor moved with an air of confidence, clearly ready to assist in the upcoming distraction. All right, we're all set, Michael said, a grin on his face. Shell-shock helped us scout the area. We'll create a distraction that should draw the guards away from the entrance. Lindsay nodded, her eyes sparkling with excitement. We've got a plan to make it loud and chaotic. Shell-shock will help us flank the guards from behind, causing enough commotion to keep them occupied. Perfect, Owen replied, appreciating their enthusiasm. Once the guards are distracted, we'll slip inside and get to work. Isabella took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. I'll be ready to hack the system as soon as you give the signal. Just make sure you're in and out quickly. With their preparations complete, the team felt a surge of determination. They were united in their mission, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Let's move, Alex commanded, his voice steady. We've got a mission to complete. With that, they set off toward the facility, their hearts racing with a mix of fear and excitement. Michael and Lindsay moved stealthily through the underbrush, their eyes scanning the surroundings as they approached the government facility. Shellshock, the velociraptor, darted ahead, using its keen senses to scout for any signs of guards or potential threats. The jungle was alive with sounds, but the tension in the air was palpable as they prepared to create their distraction. "Stay low and keep quiet," Michael whispered to Lindsay, who nodded in agreement. They positioned themselves behind a cluster of thick bushes, their hearts racing as they waited for the right moment to execute their plan. Shellshock returned, its eyes wide and alert. It seemed to sense that the guards were stationed near the entrance, and Michael felt a surge of determination. "All right, here's the plan. We'll make enough noise to draw them away from the entrance. Once they're distracted, we'll give a signal for Owen, Jackson, and Alex to move in." Lindsay adjusted her grip on the makeshift noisemakers they had prepared. "Let's do this. I'm ready to make some noise." As they waited for the right moment, Michael glanced at Shellshock, who crouched low, ready to spring into action. The velociraptor was a fierce ally, and Michael felt a sense of confidence knowing they had such a capable companion. Finally, the moment arrived. Michael nodded at Lindsay, and they both began to shake their noisemakers, creating a cacophony of sound that echoed through the jungle. The noise was enough to catch the attention of the guards stationed near the entrance. "Now!" Michael shouted, and Shellshock leapt into action, darting toward the source of the noise, further drawing the guards away from the facility. Lindsay moved alongside Michael, both of them watching as the guards began to leave their posts, curiosity piqued by the commotion. "It's working," she exclaimed, adrenaline pumping through her veins. With the guards distracted, they quickly signaled to Owen, Jackson, and Alex, who were waiting for their cue to infiltrate the facility. The moment of truth had arrived. With the guards distracted by the noise and Shellshock's swift movements, Owen, Jackson, and Alex seized the opportunity to slip into the facility. They moved quickly and quietly, their adrenaline fueling their focus as they navigated through the entrance. Inside, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. The hum of machinery filled the air, and the walls were lined with high-tech equipment and screens displaying various surveillance feeds. The trio exchanged determined glances, knowing they had to act fast. "Isabella, are you ready?" Alex whispered into his communicator, hoping she could hear him clearly over the noise. "Absolutely," Isabella replied, her voice steady. "I'm already working on hacking the security cameras. Just give me a moment." As they moved deeper into the facility, Owen led the way, his experience guiding them through the maze of corridors. They passed several rooms, but their focus remained on finding the command center where the hybrid blueprints were likely stored. Meanwhile, Isabella was hard at work in the underground base, her fingers flying over the keyboard as she accessed the facility's security system. Lines of code scrolled across the screen as she bypassed firewalls and disabled the cameras that monitored the area. "Almost there," she murmured to herself, her concentration unwavering. Just a few more seconds. Back in the facility, Owen, Jackson, and Alex reached the large door marked Command Center. They paused, exchanging glances filled with anticipation and urgency. "Let's go," Owen said, pushing the door open. The room was dimly lit, filled with screens and maps detailing the government's operations on Isla Sorna. As they stepped inside, they could see various documents scattered across the table, including blueprints and plans for the hybrid dinosaurs. Alex quickly moved to one of the monitors, ready to record the commander's plans. "Isabella, I'm in," he said into the communicator. "Get ready to post this footage as soon as we have it. Just let me know when," Isabella replied, her voice filled with determination. With the team in position, they were ready to uncover the truth behind the government's sinister plans. Alex quickly moved to the monitor, his heart racing as he pressed the record button on his device. The screen flickered to life, revealing a series of blueprints and documents detailing the government's plans for the hybrid dinosaurs. The commander's voice echoed through the room as he discussed the potential of the hybrids with his team. With the right modifications, we can create a new breed of dinosaurs that will be obedient and lethal," the commander stated, his tone dripping with ambition. "These creatures will not only serve as weapons but also as tools for control over Isla Sorna and beyond." Alex's hands trembled slightly as he captured every word, knowing the importance of this evidence. He glanced at Owen and Jackson, who were both on high alert, scanning the room for any signs of trouble. "This is it," Alex whispered, his eyes glued to the screen. "This footage will expose everything." Meanwhile, outside the command center, Isabella was still working diligently to ensure the security cameras remained offline. "I've got control of the cameras now," she informed them through the communicator. "You're clear for now, but you need to hurry. I can't hold this for long." "Understood," Jackson replied, his voice tense. "We'll be quick." Suddenly, a loud noise echoed from the hallway outside, causing the team to freeze. The sound of footsteps grew closer, and Alex realized they didn't have much time left. Keep recording, Owen urged, his eyes narrowing as he moved to the door, ready to assess the situation. We need to know what they're planning, but we also need to be prepared to get out of here. As the footsteps approached, the tension in the room escalated, and they braced themselves for whatever was about to happen. As the footsteps grew louder, Alex's heart raced. He knew they had to act quickly. He finished recording the commander's plans, ensuring that every detail was captured before turning to Owen and Jackson. Got it? Alex whispered urgently, waving his hand to signal them. We need to make a quick exit, now. Owen nodded, his expression tense as he moved to the door, ready to check for guards. Jackson followed closely behind, his instincts sharp as they prepared for a potential confrontation. Isabella, we're coming out. Owen called into the communicator. Keep the cameras down and alert us if anything changes. Understood, Isabella replied, her voice steady. Just be careful. I can't hold this for long. With one last glance at the monitor displaying the commander's plans, Alex felt a surge of determination. They had the evidence they needed, but now they had to escape without being caught. Owen opened the door slightly, peering into the hallway. The coast seemed clear for the moment, but he knew they couldn't linger. Let's move, he said, stepping out cautiously. The three of them slipped into the corridor, moving quietly as they retraced their steps toward the entrance. They navigated through the dimly lit halls, every sound amplified in the tense atmosphere. Suddenly, a voice echoed from further down the corridor, causing them to freeze in their tracks. Did you hear that? I think I saw something. A guard shouted. Run, Jackson urged, and they broke into a sprint, adrenaline flooding their veins as they raced toward the exit. The sounds of pursuit echoed behind them, the guards alerted and on their trail. They needed to reach the safety of the jungle before it was too late. As the sounds of footsteps grew louder, Owen quickly scanned the corridor and spotted a nearby storage room. Over there, he shouted, pointing toward the door. We can hide in there until the guards pass. Without hesitation, the team dashed into the storage room, closing the door softly behind them. The room was dimly lit and cluttered with various supplies, boxes stacked high, equipment scattered about, and the faint smell of oil lingering in the air. They pressed themselves against the wall, trying to remain as quiet as possible. Alex held his breath, listening intently as the guards approached. The sound of their voices grew clearer, and he could feel the tension in the air. Did you see anything? One guard asked, his voice low but urgent. No, but I swear I heard something coming from this direction, the other replied, his footsteps echoing as he paced outside the storage room. Owen exchanged glances with Jackson and Alex, their expressions a mix of anxiety and determination. They had to remain calm and collected if they were going to make it out of this situation. After a moment that felt like an eternity, the guards moved on, their voices fading into the distance. Alex let out a sigh of relief, but Owen held up a hand, signaling for them to stay quiet for just a little longer. Once they were sure the coast was clear, Owen whispered, let's wait a few minutes before we move. We need to be certain they're gone. The team nodded, taking a moment to catch their breath and gather their thoughts. They had successfully evaded capture, but their mission was far from over. After a few moments of silence, Owen leaned in closer to the door, straining to hear any signs of movement outside. All right, let's check the coast is clear, he whispered, his voice steady. We can't stay here forever. Just as he reached for the door handle, a low growl echoed from the corridor, sending chills down the spines of everyone in the storage room. The sound was deep and resonant, unmistakably belonging to a dinosaur. What was that? Jackson breathed, his eyes wide with concern. Owen held up a hand, signaling for silence. They all listened intently as the growl grew louder, followed by the unmistakable sound of claws scraping against the floor. It was clear that something was approaching, and it was not friendly. Do you think it's one of the hybrids? Alex whispered, his heart racing. Could be, Owen replied, his voice low. We need to stay quiet and hope it passes us by. The growling continued, and the team exchanged anxious glances, knowing that they were trapped in a small room with nowhere to run. The tension in the air was palpable as they waited, holding their breath. Suddenly, the growl transformed into a series of sharp snarls, and the sound of heavy footsteps echoed through the corridor. Whatever was out there was getting closer. The team held their breath as they heard the creature pause just outside the storage room, its low growls echoing ominously in the confined space. The tension was thick, and it was clear that they were being hunted. Suddenly, they heard the sound of claws scraping against the door, as if the creature was testing its strength. Owen's instincts kicked in, and he quickly moved to brace himself against the door, his muscles tensed and ready. Everyone, stay quiet, he whispered fiercely, his voice barely audible. We can't let it know we're in here. The creature pushed against the door with a force that made the hinges creak. Owen gritted his teeth, holding firm as he felt the pressure building. The growls intensified, and it was clear that the creature was determined to get inside. Don't move, Jackson urged, his eyes wide with fear. The team was frozen, hearts pounding in their chests as they braced for the worst. The door rattled violently, and Owen strained against the pressure, his determination unwavering. We need to find a way out of here, he whispered urgently. If it gets in, we won't stand a chance. Just then, the creature let out a frustrated roar, pulling back momentarily. Owen took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. They needed to act quickly before the creature decided to make another attempt. Feeling the pressure mounting and the uncertainty of their situation, Jackson made a snap decision. I need to call Shellshock for help, he whispered urgently. If anyone can distract that creature, it's him. Without waiting for a response, Jackson pulled out his raptor whistle, a small device that had served him well in the past. He took a deep breath, focusing on the sound that would carry through the chaos of the moment. He blew into the whistle, the sharp, piercing sound cutting through the tension in the air. The noise echoed in the storage room, and for a moment, everything fell silent. The creature outside paused, its growls fading as it seemed to process the sound. Are you crazy? Owen hissed, his eyes wide with concern. What if it hears you? Trust me, Jackson replied, his voice steady. Shellshock will know to come. He can create a distraction that will give us a chance to escape. Just then, they heard the sound of claws scratching at the door again, but this time it was accompanied by a familiar, rapid patter of footsteps. Shellshock burst into the scene, darting into the storage room with a fierce determination. The velociraptor immediately sensed the danger, its instincts kicking in as it turned to face the door. Jackson felt a rush of relief as he saw Shellshock ready to defend them. Now, Shellshock, Jackson urged, pointing toward the door. The raptor let out a sharp cry, a sound that echoed through the corridor and seemed to challenge the creature outside. The growling intensified, but as the creature heard Shellshock's call, it hesitated. The distraction had worked, and Jackson felt a surge of hope. Let's move, Owen shouted, pushing against the door to create an opening. With Shellshock's presence, they had a fighting chance. Owen quickly assessed the situation, realizing they needed to act fast. Shellshock, listen to me, he commanded, his voice firm yet urgent. I need you to lure that creature away from us. Create a distraction so we can find a safer route out of here. Shellshock seemed to understand, its sharp gaze locked onto the door as it prepared to spring into action. With a swift nod from Jackson, Shellshock darted toward the door, letting out a fierce, challenging call that echoed through the corridor. The creature outside responded with an angry roar, clearly agitated by the presence of the raptor. Jackson felt a mix of pride and anxiety as he watched Shellshock engage the creature, knowing that their only chance of escape depended on the velociraptor's instincts. Now, while it's distracted, Owen urged, pushing the door open just enough for them to slip through. The moment was critical, they had to move quickly before the creature turned its attention back to them. Alex led the way, his heart pounding as they navigated the dimly lit corridor. They could hear the sounds of the raptor and the creature clashing outside, a cacophony of growls and roars that filled the air. Let's find another exit, Owen said, his eyes scanning for any signs of a way out. We need to avoid the main entrance where the guards are likely regrouping. As they moved deeper into the facility, they felt a renewed sense of urgency. With Shellshock's help, they had a chance to escape, but they had to be smart about it. As they moved through the dimly lit corridors, the urgency of their situation pressed heavily on Alex's mind. He turned to the group, determination etched on his face. We need to split up. It'll help us cover more ground and find a way out faster. Owen looked hesitant for a moment, but the sound of growling and chaos outside reminded him of the urgency. All right, but we need to stay in contact. Let's set a time to regroup in 10 minutes. Jackson nodded, his eyes sharp with focus. I'll take Shellshock with me. We'll check the east wing. I'll head toward the maintenance area, Alex said, glancing at the map on the wall. It might have a way out. Just be careful. I'll check the west side, Lindsay volunteered, her voice steady. I'll keep my communicator on. Let's move, then, Owen urged, knowing that time was of the essence. Stay alert and keep your eyes peeled for anything useful. With their plan in place, the team split up, each member heading in a different direction. Alex felt a rush of adrenaline as he made his way toward the maintenance area, the sounds of the chaos behind them fading as he focused on the task at hand. As he navigated through the corridors, Alex kept his communicator ready, listening for any updates from the others. He could feel the weight of the mission pressing down on him, but he was determined to find a way out for everyone. As Jackson and Shellshock moved cautiously through the dimly lit corridors of the East Wing, the tension in the air was palpable. The velociraptor moved silently beside him, its instincts sharp and senses heightened. They were on high alert, knowing that danger could lurk around any corner. Suddenly, Jackson froze, his heart racing as he spotted a group of guards ahead, gathered around a set of crates. They were chatting, but their weapons were still at the ready, and Jackson knew he had to act quickly. Shellshock, stay low, he whispered, crouching down to avoid detection. The raptor complied, its body tense and ready to spring into action if needed. Jackson considered his options, knowing that he needed to create a distraction or find a way to slip past the guards. His hand instinctively moved to his whistle, but as he reached for it, one of the guards suddenly turned, catching a glimpse of movement. "Hey, over there!" the guard shouted, raising his weapon and pointing it in Jackson's direction. In an instant, the other guards followed suit, their guns trained on Jackson. "Don't move," one of them commanded, a mixture of surprise and authority in his voice. Jackson's mind raced as he weighed his options. He could try to use the whistle to signal shellshock or create a diversion, but the risk was high. The guards were already on edge, and any sudden movement could lead to a confrontation. Think. Jackson muttered to himself, feeling the pressure of the moment. He had to come up with a plan fast. Just as the tension reached its peak, a sudden flurry of movement erupted from the shadows. Jackson's eyes widened as he watched a masked figure spring into action, taking down the guards one by one with swift, precise movements. The guards barely had time to react before they were incapacitated, collapsing to the ground in a heap. "What the?" Jackson exclaimed, confusion flooding his mind. He had no idea who this mysterious assailant was. As the last guard fell, the masked figure stood tall, breathing heavily but poised. Slowly, she reached up and removed her mask, revealing a familiar face that sent a rush of recognition through Jackson. "Emma," he exclaimed, disbelief and relief washing over him. "I can't believe it's you." Emma smiled, her eyes sparkling with determination. "I heard you were in trouble, and I couldn't just sit back. I've been watching the facility, waiting for the right moment to help." Jackson felt a surge of gratitude. Emma had been a crucial ally during their previous encounters with Injun, and seeing her again filled him with hope. "You just saved my life. But what are you doing here?" "I've been gathering intel on the government's operations since I escaped," Emma explained, glancing at the downed guards. "I knew you'd be coming back to stop them, and I wanted to help." "Thank you," Jackson said, his voice filled with sincerity. "We need to regroup with the others and get out of here." Emma nodded, her expression serious. "I know a way out. Follow me, but we need to move quickly before they realize what happened." With Emma leading the way, Jackson and Shellshock followed closely behind, feeling a renewed sense of purpose as they navigated through the facility. As they moved swiftly through the facility, Jackson felt a sense of urgency mixed with relief. With Emma by his side, they navigated the corridors, avoiding the downed guards and the chaos that had erupted. The alarms blared in the distance, a reminder that time was running out. Just a little further, Emma urged, leading them toward a back exit she had scouted earlier. Jackson could hear the distant sounds of guards regrouping, their voices rising in alarm as they realized something was amiss. Finally, they reached a door that led outside. Emma quickly punched in a code, and with a soft beep, the door slid open to reveal the night sky. The cool air rushed in, filling their lungs with a sense of freedom. "Let's go," Emma urged, stepping through the door and into the open. As they emerged into the night, Jackson felt a wave of relief wash over him. They had made it out, but their fight was far from over. The government still posed a threat to Isla Sorna and its inhabitants. "Now we regroup with the others," Jackson said, determination set in his voice. "We have to share what we've learned and put a stop to their plans for good." Together, they sprinted toward the nearby tree line, ready to reunite with their team and continue the battle for the dinosaurs' freedom. As they disappeared into the jungle, the night felt alive with possibilities, and though challenges lay ahead, they were united in their mission.